Godzilla -1, we are ready. Godzilla -1, we are ready.
Hello everybody, in this video I'll be doing my spoiler review for Godzilla -1. I saw this movie twice in theaters, once on Wednesday and once yesterday. And before I start, I'm gonna give a quick spoiler warning alert. Obviously the title says spoilers, so there's gonna be spoilers. I'm gonna talk about how Godzilla, I don't want to say it right now, but I'm going to say a whole bunch of stuff. So this is your time to leave right now if you don't want to be spoiled. But if you do, or you've already seen the movie, let's start. So first off, rating the movie. What do I rate it? I'm going to give it an 11 out of 10 because it's called Godzilla -1. So if you -1, you get a 10 out of 10 from me. This movie was beautiful. Both Godzilla and the human characters were amazing, and that's something you don't really see a lot in more modern day Godzilla movies. Normally the Godzilla stuff is amazing and the human stuff isn't good, but in this movie both things were amazing and I actually love the human stuff. So in speaking of that, let's actually talk about the human stuff first real quick because it's worth mentioning. What made the human stuff so good? It's really just the time period, the acting of the characters, and what they're doing. This time period takes place after the events of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So Japan is basically devastated. Our main characters are literally living in destroyed homes. They don't have a lot of food, they don't have a lot of money, they are struggling so much. And that makes you actually truly care about these characters because it wasn't Godzilla that did all of this. It was an actual, real-life historical event. And Godzilla's only here to make things worse. And I was just really enjoying the characters. It seemed like they were having fun, and there were moments where they were kind of making cool jokes that just make them seem like real people. Even though this crazy, devastating thing happened, they're trying to find the good parts about life. And obviously they have to keep on living life. Just the whole story of the main character like thinking that he's still dead when he should have died, it makes it so sad and so serious as well. Where if we had something like this in an American Godzilla movie, they probably would just joke around about it. But for this movie, they went the serious route with the humans, they went the serious route with Godzilla, and it just makes it so good to finally have another serious Godzilla movie that we haven't really gotten since Shin Godzilla. And I could talk about this for hours, but to make this video a bit shorter and to save some time, let's go straight into talking about Godzilla himself. Easily one of my new favorite Godzillas out there. This guy was horrifying. He was scary, very, very strong. His atomic breath scene where he charges up, all his dorsal fins pop out of his back, they go back in, he shoots it out, and not only is it a blue atomic breath beam, it is literally a nuclear explosion that goes off. I'm actually really surprised Godzilla's atomic breath hasn't really been like that. The only other time we saw something like that was in GMK. So seeing it here and actually seeing him shoot it out and this giant explosion goes off, it seems overkill, but I love it. Godzilla's design is absolutely beautiful. He was kind of, doing like the Shin Godzilla type walk where his arms are really stiff and he's walking. But when he's out there fighting the planes and the ships and stuff, he is going all over the place. He is tearing it up. He is biting down on stuff. He knows how to fight well. And even the Godzillasaurus that we saw in the beginning of the movie, which was definitely a reference to Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah in 1991, where we had the Godzillasaurus after they went back in time. At least that's definitely what it reminded me of. And just seeing that version of Godzilla in the beginning where he's a lot smaller, but he can move a lot faster. He's almost like a T-Rex, but if he had longer arms and was a lot bigger. This guy was chomping down on humans, just tossing them around. He was stepping on them like bugs, swatting them like flies, even tail slapping them. It was crazy and brutal. And I'm actually so glad we got to see Godzilla in this type of evolutionary stage where even though he's smaller than a normal Godzilla would be, he actually still does a lot more damage. And it makes him so scared because he was definitely targeting those people. But you know, Godzilla does his thing throughout the movie, doesn't get affected by bombs, destroys ships, destroys towns and buildings and people. But by the end, they actually do end up defeating or killing Godzilla. They did this by sinking Godzilla deep within the water so the water pressure would crush him. That didn't work, so then they brought him back up so the change of water pressure going back up would crush him even more. And it still didn't really work at first, and Godzilla was about to shoot his atomic breath and his eyes were all bulged up and huge. But then our main character, sorry I still don't remember the name as of right now, but the main character flies the plane into Godzilla's mouth, ejecting right before the plane gets stuck in his mouth, full of bombs, and Godzilla's head literally blows up. And by the time he blows up, you can see the bottom of his jaw still there. It's so gruesome and brutal. And then Godzilla slowly crumbles and all of his atomic energy just goes out of his body in lines, and it's beautiful, and everyone salutes. Even though Godzilla died, it was actually such a beautiful Godzilla death. Even though he's dying brutally, just the lines of his atomic breath and like the sun in the background shining on him, it just looked amazing. But we all know Godzilla isn't truly dead. By the end of the movie, we see a piece of Godzilla start to regenerate and the music kicks in. Speaking of the music, I absolutely love the music. I don't actually know which song was my favorite, but I loved it. It was awesome to hear Godzilla's theme song come back again. It was just amazing. Also, did anyone notice at the end of the movie where the main character and the other main character, I'm sorry I don't remember their names, I could look it up, but I just want to make this quick. The two main characters come back. The girl who actually was supposed to die was actually alive after Godzilla shot his atomic breath. Anyone notice on her neck there was like some black goo thing that started going up her neck? The first time watching, I noticed it, but I honestly thought it was just like some sort of mark. But after watching the movie a second time, there was nothing there before, and then some black goo started going up her neck. What is this? What is going on here? I have no clue. Maybe some piece of Godzilla got onto her? And if they do end up making a second movie, what is gonna happen? Is she gonna mutate into another Godzilla? I'm sensing some very Shin Godzilla vibes from this, like a Shin Godzilla where he was going to evolve into these humanoid Godzilla figures. But yeah, this movie was amazing. It had some amazing references. Yet again, I could talk for so long about this movie, but I just don't want to make this video like 30 minutes long or anything. I guess now I have to kind of find something that I didn't really like about the movie. I guess if anything, I do kind of wish the ending was a little bit longer, because it did just kind of end off with the two main characters reuniting, but we don't really get to see what happens after that, almost like the movie ended off in a cliffhanger. And if that's what they were trying to do, then that's good, it's really cool. But I do wish we got to kind of see what happened after that. Also, the very end fight with Godzilla, although it was absolutely beautiful, I do wish Godzilla kind of fought a little bit more. He was kind of in the water, he shot his atomic breath at the ships once, and then he was just looking at the plane as it was flying. It was just looking, and then he got caught, and it was like, ugh! I kind of wish he was like, try to fight back or something, but he didn't really do much. But really, besides those tiny little nitpicks, this movie was actually perfect. But what would I rank the movie? That's actually very hard. Although I love this movie. Okay, so right now, Godzilla King of the Monsters is my favorite movie. Some of you may be thinking, oh, but that Godzilla movie is so bad. Well, it was the first Godzilla movie I ever watched in theaters. It's around the time when I truly became a Godzilla fan. I was so hyped to watch it. I was like, I'm pretty sure 13 at the time. Now I'm 17, so that movie just holds a huge place in my heart. Second place comes Shin Godzilla. I love Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla was the first Godzilla movie that I truly really watched, It was around the time when I first ever became a Godzilla fan, and I didn't really know much about the movies. So it's like, where do I rank -1? Godzilla King of the Monsters has such good action. Shin Godzilla has such good movie and visuals. And Godzilla -1 just has such a really good story. That's why as of right now, I still don't know what I would rank Godzilla -1. I guess I'll just have to give it some more time. But anyways, tell me what you guys think of this movie. Did you enjoy it? Did you absolutely hate the movie? Let me know in the comments. I got my Godzilla -1 Early Access Fan Event IMAX poster right up there. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Godzilla -1, what a beautiful film. I gotta get the Bandai -1 eventually, because I don't have any Godzilla -1 figures, even though I have all of these figures behind me. No -1, so I gotta get that. Hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day.